Does that work? Great. Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing? Great. You got to be better than that. How's everybody doing? Woo! We are here for a very special occasion today. We are gathered here in support of Senate Bill 1392, joint authored by Senator Dave Cortese and Senator Shannon Grove. Senator Cortese represents the San Jose area, and Senator Grove represents the Bakersfield area. And both have come together just to continue to be able to move forward with Jay Leno's law. SB 1392 would provide smog exemptions for vehicles that are manufactured between 1976 and 1985 so that they can continue to contribute to the automotive heritage of our state. And so the first person that I would like to come up and introduce is my Senator Dave Cortese, Chair of the Transportation Committee.
Well, thank you very much, Mario. And our team, and I want to thank Senator Shannon Grove for her leadership and partnership as a joint author on SB 1392, and of course her team as well. And I think we owe some thanks to committee chairs and colleagues along the way that have made this a little bit of a better bill at this point. We're very happy with it, but have also supported it with their votes and with their confidence. And I'll give a shout out to Assembly Chair Wilson, who really helped us structure this bill over the last 2 years in a way that I think has helped us move it along to this point where we're about a step and a half away from the governor's desk. I want to thank SEMA, the collectors, restorers, lowrider, car clubs, automotive businesses, and advocates who've worked so hard to get the bill to this point. And thank you to everyone who took the time to be here today. In addition to, of course, media outlets and media representatives, we have San Joaquin County Board of Supervisor Robert Rickman representing the 5th District and his board aide, Maria Valenzuela. I want to thank Francine Mata, Chair of the Sacramento Lowrider Commission, who provided public testimony before my Transportation Committee on the Senate side a few weeks ago in support of this bill, as well as for her outreach efforts in helping to secure about 40 vintage cars to showcase here today. And these cars right behind us are in that era, that vintage that we're specifically going after with this bill. And you can tell, sometimes people, I feel, act like we're trying to do something that's a loophole for commuters and daily drivers and people who are just trying to show up for work. And it's not that. You can see from the cars themselves, that was a long time ago. It was a long time ago. I'm old enough to remember, but I think when we have automobiles that are of such vintage and so difficult to get parts for and to maintain, that we take a look at that and just use some common sense and say, this needs to happen. This really needs to happen. So I also want to acknowledge the Vice Chair of the Senate Transportation Committee, who I get to work with regularly, does a tremendous job. We tag team as much as possible on that committee, and that would be Senator Strickland, who is somewhere right here. Thank you. Thank you. Also a great supporter of the cause. California is one of the richest and most influential car cultures anywhere in the world. There's actually separate laws in this state that recognize the importance of the automobile culture in this state, particularly collector cars and vintage cars. For generations, cars have been part of how California expressed themselves. Californians express themselves with these vehicles through restoration, customization, motorsports, lowrider, other car clubs, of course, parades, museums, and community gatherings. For many families, these cars are much more than machines. They're family history. They're hand-me-downs. They're hand-me-downs that need to be registered by whoever you're handing it down to. And you can't get the darn thing registered unless today you can get a smog certificate for it, which is damn near impossible to do in many cases. Just try it. I have. I know. These are works of art. Car collectors and restorers have an inside joke, and when they put this much effort into creating one of these collector vehicles, they start to refer to it as a piece of furniture because they really don't go out on the road very often. I would be surprised if the average, we don't have data on that, but the average was any more than 500 miles a year. Compare that to what we do with our own commuter vehicles. They represent years of craftsmanship, countless hours spent restoring something that can be passed from one generation to the next. From a grandfather teaching his grandchild how to work on an old Chevy or Ford, to a community coming together for a lowrider show. These vehicles are part of California's story. And if we're serious about preserving California's history, we have to preserve the car culture that helped shape it. And I'll go a step further and say if we're serious about creating a California for all, then this has to be part of the all. Yes. California already recognized the importance of collecting, preserving, restoring, and maintaining vehicles of historic and special interest, as I said earlier. But our smog laws just haven't kept pace with the passage of time. Year after year after year has gone by. And last year, Senator Grove really took the initiative in conjunction with SEMA, with the sponsor at the time, and started moving a bill very similar to this forward. And I told her right away I was willing to co-author it. I later came on as a joint author of the bill toward the end of that process. We simply flipped the order of things this year. So I'm the lead author. She's the other joint author. It doesn't matter. We are working this bill. It's going to take bipartisan support. It's a great example of what bipartisan, across the aisle cooperation can do. It'll be a greater example once the governor signs it. So, as Mario said in the outset, it's a pretty narrow exemption in terms of years, but it's going to be meaningful to a lot of people. Just to move 1976 through 85, 5 of those years immediately, the first 5, and then the next 5 years, 1 year at a time, until we get that 10 years covered, is really important and critical for a lot of people. I talked to somebody just 2 weeks ago who had, in California, actually in Berkeley, had an 81 vehicle, which is pristine, a collector car, a one-family car, and he finally decided he has to sell it. He had to put it on a national auction. You know why? Not because no one in Berkeley would buy that car, that 81 car, but because it's a Volvo and he put a new Volvo motor in it. He can no longer get a smog certificate in California, so he can't transfer it to anyone. So that beautiful car is leaving the state. And that's the kind of story over and over and over again we are seeing with this current circumstance that we are trying to correct. I'm going to turn it over. There's more things I can say here, much more in terms of kind of the scripted stuff that I have that my staff did a tremendous job with. But I'm going to turn it over. I've added some things. I'm going to turn it over to Senator Grove, if that's appropriate, Mario, and let her, finish telling the story about what we're up to here. And again, thank you all for being here.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Senator Cortese. And I also want to introduce my good colleague, Senator Daly, over here. She's here from the North State area, and then also the Vice Chair of Transportation, Senator Strickland. And I don't think there's anybody else out here, right? I do want to say that just what Senator Cortese said is adding this 10 years will include a car like Kim Harris's car right here. Kim, raise your hand. Kim Harris, she said, "This is my baby." She don't have to be in the shot, but she wants this El Camino. 1984 El Camino. She has problems getting that smogged, and she's put her life, blood, sweat, and tears into this vehicle, and it's gorgeous. And there's no reason why she can't drive it on California roads. So I want you to look around you at these amazing machines that are right here before us. They're not just cars. These are rolling pieces of American history. They're the Mustangs, the Camaros, the El Caminos, the Corvettes, the Hot Rods, the classics that put California on the map as the capital of the car club in the world, a capital car club in the world. As Senator Cortese said, I'm State Senator Shannon Grove, and I've been working on this bill for a couple of years, and people go, are you a car collector? Unlike Senator Cortese, I'm not a car collector. And as a matter of fact, when I introduced Leno's Law last year, Senator Cortese's mechanic got my cell phone number, called me and said, "Go see Dave Cortese. He's going to be interested in this bill." And that's how I found out Senator Cortese was a car collector and talked to him about this bill, and he immediately joined on as a bipartisan effort. I can tell you that we were so close last year with SB 712, and we listened to what all of you said. You said you didn't want those specialized license plates. You didn't want to have Haggerty or specialty insurance. You should be able to use State Farm or any other insurance company that would insure your vehicle. You didn't want the other license plate. You wanted it to be authentic license plate. You talked about making sure that we had limited miles so that we could make sure that everybody was following the law and we didn't have any rollbacks or any problems. And so I know that this year we came back and we heard you, and Leno's Law 2.0 does not require specialty plates. Instead, we clarify what a real collector or true collector motor vehicle is. It's a car at least 35 years old. Primarily for shows, parades, again, like Senator Cortese mentioned, it's not about having it as your primary vehicle. It's not like my Chevy Traverse that I have 136,000 miles on. It's not going to happen. These are pristine, classic, beautiful works of art that the people of the state of California that love these vehicles and have a passion for these vehicles, I concur with what Senator Cortese says. It's a California for all, and all need to be included. So these are not just junkers clogging up the freeways. They're cars that bring back memories of high school. I had a car in high school, it was a 1987 Trans Am. There's a 1988 Trans Am right down there owned by Henry. Where you at, Henry? Hanging out someplace? Anyways, and he's got his Trans Am over here, and Jay Leno drove it last year in the parade. So just looking at these classic car, Burt Reynolds too. Looking at these classic car that we have, they've been carefully maintained. There is a car over here. I'm not a car person. I am not a car person. I got into this bill because I was at an auction for a fundraiser, and my husband's like, pay for that, the auction item for the Leno's garage. I'm like, I don't want to go to a garage. No, do it, babe, do it. I go, I don't want to go to a garage. And then finally I did, and when we got down there, the Leno's garage is not a garage. It's an amazing museum, and if you haven't gone, make time to go. It's one of the most beautiful things that you've ever seen, with authentic artwork from the era of the car that was created at that moment. He's got an amazing collection, and I don't think there's a bigger one in the state of California than his. I could be wrong, but I don't know. So I don't know what this car is over here, but if you look at this car over here, this kind of silverish gold color car, it has engraved bumpers and an engraved engine, and it's got mirrors in the top of the hood so that you can look down on it. That is not a car that's going to be driven every day, but that's a car that you can share with your grandkids and your children, and you can have culture. It's a lowrider. Jay took me some lowrider club things. They go to the parks, they have barbecues, and you have kids running around having a great time on a Saturday afternoon, and we should not restrict Californians from doing that. So we need you, and we thank you for being here at the state capitol. And I just appreciate everyone here. I appreciate SEMA. I appreciate them putting in the work that they did to make sure that this bill got to where it is. And if you don't know, it's almost a $40 billion industry with almost 150,000 employees. And why we would want to kill an industry like that in our state when it employs so many people and offers so much money to our economy is completely ridiculous. So we're excited about Thursday. We're very hopeful about Thursday. We have no guarantees, but that's our next hurdle. And then once we get it out, that we will be one step away from getting a signature from the governor. And we are very excited about that. I am going to, we didn't kill enough time. We're expecting a very important phone call, and we still have a few minutes. So how about I turn it back over to Mario and he can finish up.
Thank you so much, Senator Cortese and Senator Shannon Grove. Next, I would like to go ahead and invite Carmen Vera, who is the owner and co-founder of Pasadena Classic Car, a Southern California restoration shop dedicated to preserving and restoring classic vehicles. She is a passionate advocate for automotive heritage and the collector car community. And fun fact about Carmen is that she helped restore cars that were affected by the Altadena wildfire last year. And so that's pretty cool, right? So Carmen.
Good morning again. My name is Carmen Vera. I am from Los Angeles. I own a full restoration shop. It's called Pasadena Classic Car. We have been in business for 20 years now. So what I do is not only do I restore cars, I restore memories. I own a 1979 Cutlass, and I did a full restoration on this car. How do I explain to my 7-year-old daughter that I can't give her a ride because of these laws? So I am here to ask to help pass SB 1392, Leno's Law, so that I can hand the car down to her and she can also drive the car when she's of age. This law affects not only the car builders, but also our employers. Passing this law will allow me to continue to keep my doors open for our customers that own these classic cars. So I'm thankful to be here and allow you to give me the opportunity to express myself on how important it is for me to have this law passed. Thank you.
Thank you, Carmen, for that. Next, I would like to invite Victor Munoz, who is the Senior Manager of State Government Affairs for SEMA, where he leads advocacy efforts across the western United States on behalf of the automotive aftermarket industry and the nation's car enthusiasts. Victor?
Well, thank you, Mario. Thank you, Senators, and thank you, everyone, for being here. I'm still, I'll be honest, I am a car guy. I am geeking out that this happened and that we have this beautiful backdrop of the Capitol to share with everyone here, along with the vehicles here. As Mario mentioned, I'll make my comments short. My name is Victor Munoz. I'm the Senior Manager of State Government Affairs for SEMA. And Carmen's story and the Senator's story are exactly why SEMA co-sponsors Leno's law. Car culture is simply put, it's family, it's engineering, it's freedom. It connects people in ways few things can. California's automotive community has spent decades preserving history and advancing technology. And California is home to more than 1,500 SEMA member businesses, representing about 20% of our total membership nationwide. The state specialty automotive aftermarket supports nearly 150,000 jobs, generates over $40 billion in economic impact, provides $13 billion in wages and benefits, and contributes $6 billion in taxes to this economy in this state. Leno's law, simply put, supports that industry. We thank Senators Cortese and Grove, Mr. Jay Leno, Ms. Carmen Vera, Ms. Francine Mata with the Sacramento Lowrider Commission, woo! And every enthusiast behind our effort. The automotive community is one of the most passionate, generous, and innovative groups you will ever meet. And that's why car culture remains one of the greatest forces in this state and why protecting it matters. We are close, but we are not finished. Please visit freemyride.org and urge lawmakers to pass Leno's law. And thank you very much for being here today. And let's get this past the finish line. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, Victor, for that. Now we're going to go ahead and open it for questions and answers.
You want to speak, Francie?
Hi, everyone. My name is Francine Mata, President and co-founder of the Sacramento Lowrider Commission and also of the California Lowrider Alliance. I want to thank everyone that's here today. I'm so rooting. Make sure that you go and show your support. Thank you, Senator Grove, Senator Cortese, SEMA, all our supporters, the lowrider community in Sacramento and throughout California. I just want to say how important this bill is, not only to small business, big business, our local economy. Our community is family oriented. It's a positive mental health when I'm in my car. And, we bring so much pride and culture, whether it's a parade, whether it's a give back, school outings. We just did an exhibit at the California State Fair and we broke the record from 274,000 to 285,000 this year.
Wow.
And we
Very cool.
showcase cars throughout California, whether it's our culture, music, and everything. It's a form that's passed down. I get to pass down my car to my sons, and it's something that I grew up in. It's like I said, it's love, pride, culture, and it's California. And so I urge you to support this bill, and I want to thank everyone for being here today. Thank you.
Right. Good job. Good job, Fran.
Great, thank you so much for that, Francine. And now we're opening it up for questions and answers.
Go ahead.
Yeah. If you have questions you want to shout out, just go ahead. If not, we can do, one-on-one availability as well. So we'll give it a 30-second pause here
We do have an award, too.
to give out now.
I'm going to do that now.
Okay.
He just texted me he can't call till 10:30.
Oh. She said we have an award?
The Leno Law Award.
It's okay.
Yes.
Eitan, go ahead, Eitan.
Thanks, both of you. I think Max did a pretty good job answering this, but I just want to make clear, and Senator Gross spoke about last year. I know it was the special license plates, right? It was a few other things, and thank you for addressing that. Was there any other major changes that happened this year that you say, hey, this will help us get it to the finish line?
I mean, there's some practical changes that are really going to help people get their cars registered in certain circumstances. For example, there was a little glitch in the bill. I couldn't even tell you where that got embedded somewhere along the way. It could have been a mistake by legislative counsel, but transfers weren't included. So we had this thing where if you've had the car for a year and another year and another year, you've just been the owner for a long time, you go down to the smog place and try to get your smog certificate, that was exempted. But upon transfer in California, the seller has to provide the smog certificate, and you can't even sell the car. And that applies basically to most used cars, not just this vintage. That had to be fixed. So I think that's a practical concern that all of the businesses and the car owners and such, the enthusiasts will appreciate and need, and basically need. Like I said, we want to keep these cars in California. It's nice to work on them here, but then to ship them out to Nevada or Florida or somewhere is a heartbreaker for many of us. All right.
And the only thing, in terms of in writing, it has in writing this year about what a collector car is. I know Senator Grove spoke about that too. Yeah, it explains it in the bill.
And yes, and Senator Grove did a great job leading on this last year to say, look, we have a collector car definition already in law. So we don't have to have a big argument about what that means. It's cars basically that are used for show, for parades, what you expect. I didn't memorize the exact definition, but it is cars that are used for festivities basically, and that's defined. And so she incorporated that by reference and said that's the standard right there. We've been able to maintain that this year. I think it's a good thing, and I think it probably kept us from having a lot more opposition from folks who just, frankly, don't understand that almost all these cars are collector cars anyway by their nature. You realize one of these cars, if it still had the original motor in it and it was driven every single day, we commuters, all of us, average about 11,000 miles a year. That's average. That's not even on the high side. Multiply that times 40 years. How would the car even be running if it hadn't been refurbished and turned into a collector car? We get that, but some of these things that were put in the bill were, in a sense, kind of a crutch so that other people wouldn't doubt what we were up to. And again, I thank Senator Grove for that immensely, starting off that way last year. I'm going to let Senator Grove give the better answer. But I will tell you, we've worked very closely, as has our sponsor SEMA, with the governor's office to make sure that we have a bill that's the type of thing that they would look for or ask for. But let me turn it over to Senator Grove.
So we worked really hard with the Appropriations Committee. I know that I met with Assemblymember Wicks, and I know that Senator Cortese met with the other appropriation members' chairs, and we have been working very close with the governor's office, and we are very hopeful that he will sign it if we are able to get it to his desk. So we're hopeful.
People that come in and work on construction, they have gas-powered trucks and things of that nature to power their businesses, and they're concerned about not being able to drive those vehicles as well, even though they're newer.
Yeah.
Is there certain protections
the bill in kind of an ironic way actually helps with a worst case scenario of that. There's no law now that you have to retrofit your car to be an EV. The mandate that the governor signed years ago when he first came in was to say any new car sales by 2031 are supposed to be EV. We'll see if that holds up, because there's other issues at work. That's an entirely different issue. But think of it this way. If you wanted to convert this car, I'm not saying she does, but if you want to convert it to EV, wouldn't that be the cleanest air damn 79 vehicle you ever saw, right? You can't get it smog certification on that car. They will just turn you right around and say, get out of here, because on the visual inspection, the first thing you're going to say is you don't have the original motor in there. So we have been holding the community to a 1970s smog standard, which would never pass today's standards, and it's ridiculous. And that's what's happening now, and lots of folks, want to put almost anything that comes out now is that you would put in one of these vehicles is cleaner air and more efficient. But yeah, EVs won't get in the way of this. In fact, if anything, the bill will help with that. Thank you. Thank you.
Yay. Hope so.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Hope so.
Just remember, we can't do it without you, and that sounds like a cliche, but the fact of the matter is this building is driven by what voters think. It may not seem like that sometimes, but don't underestimate the power of numbers, and there's a lot of us car folks out there. We just need to make sure people don't skip it or assume that this fight is already won. Right down the stretch here, we need people to keep sending letters in. So anything you can do to help us with that, please do it.
So we have a special guest that's going to join us. He was not able to be up here today, but Jay, I got you on a speakerphone, and I'm going to put the phone to the mic. And you have media, and I bet, 40 or so, maybe 50 classic cars, and all the people who love you and support you. Go ahead.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Wow, they put the mic up to the speaker. Boy, the age we live in, so advanced.
Do you guys have questions for Jay Leno? Yes, ma'am. She said, Mr. Leno, why can't you join us today?
Well, I can't join you today. I'm my wife's caretaker, and I just couldn't do it today. I've done it before, but, family takes precedent. But I certainly wish I could be. But thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Eitan?
Jay, great to chat with you yesterday. Thanks for taking the time to take us through why this bill is so important to you.
Eitan said, Eitan Wallace said that thank you for chatting with him yesterday, and just take us through the bill and why it's so important to you and car enthusiast.
Well, it's important to me because you don't want to make criminals out of people, in the sense that if you have a car, let's say your grandfather left you his Cadillac that he had from the mid-'80s or the early '90s, it's probably not going to pass smog. In fact, it probably would pass smog if they could get it to a smog station. See, now you have something called onboard diagnostics from 96 on, where you just plug in and the computer tells you if your car passes or fails. Very simple. But previously, you had to go to what they call a rolling road. You pull into a gas station, they have rollers, you get up on the rollers, you get the car up to about 50 or 60 miles an hour for 3 or 4 minutes, and it tests the pollution. Okay. Well, those machines don't really exist anymore because there's not much call for them. Most gas stations have just gone to the onboard diagnostics. So if you have one of these cars, people call me all the time, and the closest station I can find is San Diego. Well, that's crazy. So that's what we're trying to do. Just make it so you don't make criminals out of people. You don't make them break the law by trying to figure out somebody who could rig it or do some sort of trick like that. It's like this thing with Montana license plates. I don't believe in that either. People don't want to pay sales tax, so they get a Montana license plate. It's not legal in California. And for your car to be driven in California, it has to pass smog. But the tests don't exist anymore to do that. So what do people do? They still have to drive to work,
Yes, ma'am. So CBS Sacramento wants to know what your favorite model car is.
Well, I wouldn't have all these cars out of favorite. I mean, I like anything that rolls, explodes, makes noise. I have electric cars. I have gas. I like the history of transportation. And so much of the history of California is based around the automobile. The lowrider culture, the hot rod industry, which is a $6 billion a year industry, started in California and is still here, but they're driving everybody out. I mean, they forced Toyota to leave California. They forced Tesla to leave California. I mean, it's tricky to do business here. We just want to make it easier for people.
Good. What's your message, Mr. Leno, to the legislature and the governor on this bill?
Well, please sign it, because I think it makes it easier for people not to have to try and break the law. And, it's... from what I understand, I think the governor is for the bill. I think he will sign it. It seems to make sense. It affects less than 0.001% of the cars in California, so it's really just for most people take their car and they drive it to a car show. Like right now, I'm driving an electric car, okay, because I use that to commute every day, and I use my gas car on weekends. These vehicles are like snowmobiles or recreational vehicles. They take them out, they go to a car show on Saturday or Sunday. Nobody's using them for everyday transportation.
Good. Thank you, sir, for calling in. We wish you and your wife your absolute best, and we appreciate you lending your name again this year to Leno's Law 2.0.
Hey, thanks, you guys. I appreciate it. Thanks for all your efforts.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. So I apologize for the long piece of the press conference, but he was scheduled to call in at 10:30, so thank you for waiting. It was important for him to share his thoughts and make sure that he had an opinion on what was going on today. So thank you.
Before we end, I'm going to go ahead and call Victor from SEMA to give out the very prestigious Leno's Law Award.
First off, I'll do a customary good view of it. No, I appreciate everyone for being here. And yeah, before we close, my name is Victor from SEMA again, and I have the honor of presenting today's Best in Show Award. Our Best in Show today is to Mr. James Campman from Roseville for his Chevy Z28 LT Camaro from 1977. And so that's that white one right there. What a beauty. I'll ask James to come up. Quite frankly, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
This is yours. Appreciate you. This vehicle represents what today's all about: craftsmanship, personal history, and the pride that keeps California car culture moving forward. And congratulations, James. And thank you for sharing the vehicle with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that concludes our press conference. Thank you for attending.
Thank you.